and Prince George. 3 generations of men, raised in palaces, managed by courtiers, trained to smile without thinking, to wave without meaning. All burdened by a system that doesn't let them learn, grow, or engage with reality. Confused and cloistered. Not cruel, not villainous, just detached. And that, in its own quiet way, might be the greatest tragedy of all. Because how do you lead a nation you can't understand? How do you inspire people you never meet outside of orchestrated appearances? And how can you represent modern Britain while being frozen in a system that refuses to modernize? The monarchy has become, as Lloyd put it, clapped out. That phrase, so perfectly British, so bluntly final, captures it. It means past its sell by date, still functioning perhaps, but without meaning. And Prince William, in this view, represents not the monarchy's renewal, but its exhaustion. He's the face of a system running on habit, a man trained for duty, not for depth, more image than conviction. For years, the media has painted William as the steady hand, the dutiful son, the future of the firm. But when Lloyd spoke of confused monarchs, he wasn't talking about chaos. He was talking about emptiness, that cold, elegant hollowness behind the royal image. Think about it. Prince William was born into unimaginable privilege. Yet for all that, what does he stand for? What ideas has he offered? What vision of Britain does he represent beyond photo ops and polished statements? This isn't personal criticism, it's systemic. William, like his father and grandmother before him, has been trained to survive the role, not question it. And that's exactly why people like Lloyd are calling for something new. When he said that after the latest scandal, the monarchy should simply abdicate, he wasn't being flippant. He was being imaginative. He was saying, what if we stop pretending this system works? What if we transform this strange, outdated relic into something bold and democratic, even fun? That's the radicalism of his point, that Britain could turn a grim moment into something liberating, that the death of the monarchy could be, in fact, the birth of imagination. And then came the line that made Richard Fitzwilliams clutch his pearls. Lloyd said, I think the fact that Prince Andrew, since 2010, when we started to learn about his connections with Jeffrey Epstein, has been allowed to hold quite important government jobs, has been allowed to live in a gigantic mansion. Not, he should be packed out to a shed in the Outer Hebrides, and instead, at all times, he's been supported by this family. That's the heart of the rot. A monarchy that claims moral authority while protecting its own from accountability. Andrew's continued privilege isn't just embarrassing, it's revealing. It shows that the system exists to serve itself. And every time William or Charles defends the institution, what they're really defending is that unbroken chain of unearned security. It's not about stability. It's about insulation, a system built to preserve itself, even at the cost of public trust. When Lloyd was challenged, but what about the tourist money? He didn't flinch. He laughed it off. Huge amounts of tax revenue, the interviewer said, come from Buckingham Palace and the House of Windsor as tourist attractions. And that's true, people love to see the pageantry, the palaces, the guards. But, as Lloyd implied, that's not monarchy. That's theatre. The palaces will still stand without a king. The guards will still march. The history will still fascinate. You don't need hereditary rule to have heritage. France still has Versailles. Germany still has its castles. Italy still has its palaces. They don't need royal bloodlines to keep them alive. They have memory. And that's enough. And then came perhaps Lloyd's most devastating remark. He said, I think a potted plant would be better than the current monarch, actually, if we put it on a throne. Harsh, maybe. But the metaphor works. A potted plant doesn't lie, doesn't cost millions, doesn't lecture the public about duty while hiding family scandals. It just sits there, decorative, silent, harmless. And in that irony lies the truth. If the job of the monarch is merely to exist, wave occasionally, and absorb adoration, why not replace them with a symbol that doesn't demand privilege or power? What Lloyd exposed brilliantly, succinctly, is that the monarchy has become performance without purpose. And performance without meaning becomes parody. Prince William's defenders often say, he's modernizing the monarchy. But modernization without reform is just rebranding. His Earthshot Prize, his sleek Instagram-ready family portraits, his carefully choreographed appearances, they all serve the same goal: to keep the illusion alive, to make the monarchy seem useful, even when it's not. Meanwhile, Britain faces a cost-of-living crisis. Public services crumble. People question why taxpayers are funding gilded estates and private security for men who inherited power rather than earned it. William's answer so far has been silence. Polished silence. But silence, too, is a political choice. And in that silence, the monarchy erodes itself. Lloyd's point, and what makes it so powerful, isn't that monarchy is evil, it's that it's irrelevant. In a world facing climate collapse, mass inequality, and digital revolutions, why is Britain still investing emotional energy into a medieval hierarchy? Why is Prince William's privilege treated as destiny rather than accident? And perhaps most importantly, why are those who question the system treated as radicals when they are the ones speaking the plain truth? Abolishing the monarchy doesn't mean erasing history. It means ending a hierarchy that keeps repeating it. It means saying we can do better than confusion and cloistered privilege. We can have leaders who earn their positions, not inherit them. We can have representation that grows, evolves, and actually understands the country it serves. Britain has long prided itself on being pragmatic, able to change when necessary. From empire to democracy, from class system to citizenship, from divine right to constitutional monarchy. But the monarchy's current form is the end of that evolution, a stagnant relic preserved by nostalgia. And nostalgia, when institutionalized, becomes a call for courage. To stop pretending that this performance of continuity serves the people. To stop mistaking pageantry for unity. To stop hiding dysfunction behind the Union Jack. If anything, Britain might rediscover its creativity by letting go of its crown. Because imagination, not inheritance, has always been the nation's true strength. Prince William's defenders will insist that he's the modern monarch we need. But the truth is, he's the monarch the system needs, not the people. He represents continuity, not change. A carefully curated symbol of normality that hides deep privilege. He is the human face of an institution that cannot admit its own obsolescence. And in that sense, Will Lloyd's critique is not just about William or Charles, it's about Britain's unwillingness to imagine something better. Because to abolish the monarchy isn't to destroy Britain, it's to trust Britain. To believe that its identity is strong enough to stand without a crown. Lloyd's words may sound radical now, but so did every moment of progress in Britain's history. Democracy itself was once unthinkable. So was women's suffrage, so was independence for nations once colonized under the same crown. Maybe what he's really saying is simple. It's time for the monarchy to catch up with the country it claims to represent. Because when a system depends on silence, it's already broken. And when a plant, yes, even a potted plant, could do the same job as your head of state, perhaps it's time to admit the truth. The monarchy isn't Britain's heart anymore. It's Britain's habit, and habits can and should be broken.